So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And yeah, Khalyla got groped. What's her last name? And Bobby Lee is neighborly with the guy who did it because he's a neighbor. So, I'm going to go into that in a minute. As usual, I am Earthling, yada yada yada. I'm an ex-Army reservist. I have a couple degrees. I've traveled a bit. I'd like to travel some more. And yeah, that's about it for me. Oh yeah, I lost 85 pounds. So anyway, I was listening to the biggest fight that Bobby Lee of Tiger Belly and his girlfriend Khalyla have ever had. It was a clip. I guess it's Tiger Belly clips. And during the clip, I don't know that that was the biggest fight that they've ever had. I don't know that that was a subject of the biggest fight that they've ever had. But they were talking about it. Basically, they were saying the fact that Khalyla had been in the elevator with their neighbor. And even though the neighbor knows that she is with Bobby Lee, he apparently brushed his hand against her. I don't know that that is my understanding of groped. Obviously, it's not something that is permissible. Nobody should be touching you if you don't want them to. Of course, maybe you have to invite them. It probably shouldn't be a trial and error basis where somebody gets to grope you and then you say, no, I don't like that. And then they stop and say, well, I didn't know. So, yeah. But Khalyla was upset that Bobby Lee apparently waves to the neighbor and says, hi, come to my show, whenever he sees them. And Bobby Lee admitted right off the bat that, hey, I know that that's effed up, but I don't know what to do when I see the guy, so that's what I do. And apparently, they didn't want to say which band, but the guy he's the DJ, that's what Bobby Lee said. But maybe he's the sound specialist or something like that for a very famous band. And that seems to be part of the reason anyway, because he mentioned it. Or maybe it isn't, maybe it was just something that Bobby Lee wanted to mention. That seems to be part of the reason why Bobby Lee did not, there's confront the guy, there's ignore the guy, and then there's be friendly with the guy. And you don't have to necessarily confront the guy, you can just ignore him. So it's really, as Bobby Lee says, kind of effed up that he would choose the one where you're not even ignoring the guy. You're not even like, you're dead to me with the guy, which I'm sure the guy has no problem being that way with you because he brushed up on your girlfriend. But anyway, Khalyla is like, I can't believe that you would do this, that you do this. And so the guest on the show who's asking the question of the two of them is like, it's this portly guy from, what's the name of this? I can't remember the name of the show, but Ed O'Neill is on it, the guy from Married with Children. The well-known show that he was on, there's a portly guy there who I believe is part of a gay couple. And he was like, listen, Bobby Lee, between you and I'm sure we could probably take this guy. And then Bobby Lee, in his usual fashion, is like, he would destroy us. And Khalyla is like, no. I put my money on the two of you guys. Of course, for me to be slightly racist, let me say that, I guess this is in the vein of Japanese kung fu. Is it Chinese kung fu movie where there's two people gang up on one guy? Of course, there's often the one-on-one. But if they can't beat him, you go high, I go low. So two portly guys I don't know how fit this potential guy is, this neighbor is, but Khalyla thinks that they could take him. So maybe as a DJ, but that doesn't really say anything. But anyway, Bobby Lee says, I just don't want to fight anyone right now, which I found to be pretty hilarious actually. But it speaks to the part of his life where Bobby Lee is actually an honest person. Whereas he can say, yes, I know that this is messed up, that I waved to the guy for hundreds of thousands of people to hear, especially in a clip. I mean, you could say that, okay, in a podcast, maybe a lot of people never get to that part. But when you have, potentially hundreds of thousands of people listening to your 3-minute clip, then they probably hear that. And they probably hear the kind of person that you are. And you still freely admit it. Maybe you don't think about that because I guess that's one of the things that he mentioned. It's not something when they have a guest on, they just feel like it's just them at their house with the guest. So maybe that's what it is. But he still admits it, and over and over and over. And he's admitted so many other things. And apparently he exposes himself, which it is so hilarious that that is not considered a crime. Because, if you do that on the street, you could get arrested and you could be probably labeled as a sexual offender. And here it is, Bobby Lee is doing that for people who pay him. I guess there's the expectation maybe that you know about Bobby Lee before you go see him, but really, is everybody going to know that? I personally have not seen him expose himself, so I don't know, and probably never will because I frequent YouTube, and YouTube probably would not allow that unless they blurred it. So, but they mention that. So I do have to give Bobby Lee his props anyway, because he does these things that I would feel very, very sensitive about doing. But just to admit as well that he really doesn't want to fight anybody right now, and to have Khalyla mention that he is really, really weak in this respect, and you do really have to give them their props for that they expose so much of their lives, and they can be so frank about certain things that we would not be. But I think it's just so interesting that it's especially interesting, and it's especially nice that Bobby Lee he's probably incredibly rich, not a billionaire, not like 100 millionaire, but still he has money. So the idea that here's this guy who has access to all of this therapy, he has a gorgeous girlfriend who is completely out of his league. It just so happens that she likes big guys, which should, be hopeful. Everybody out there who wants to date out of their league, there is somebody out of your league who likes people who are not as pretty as they are. So that seems like it's a great thing. But all of that said, it is so interesting that here it is laid out there for you. I mean, there are other parts of this clip where, for example, Bobby Lee was like, of course, the person was asking, what's the biggest fight you ever got into? And, Khalyla was mentioning the fact that Bobby Lee would, he might text someone, hey, a girl, I want to raw dog you. And then hand her the phone if she asked for it to do something. And so to him, it obviously was not a problem. But to her, she's like, listen, I don't know what you used to do in your other relationships, but this is not going to work. We are not doing this. I am not okay with this. And she's like, this hurt me. And apparently he didn't realize that it hurt him. And it's not the first time that she's mentioned that. So here it is. There are people who have access to everything that can fix you in terms of a couples therapist, in terms of individual therapists, in terms of access to money, in terms of fame, in terms of all of these different things, as we've seen, especially even with Donald Trump, who of course is not going to go to therapy or anything though, but you have people who do take the time to do that. And when you look at the effect is like it it works. And I guess you can see in their life that they have made improvements. But in Bobby Lee's admission that he really doesn't want to fight anyone right now, we see that he still, and the fact that he still waves to the neighbor, says that he cannot even bring himself to simply ignore the guy. Okay, I understand that you don't know what to do, so don't do anything. You know that what you do, which is going out of your way to do extra, annoys your girlfriend, so at least stop doing that thing that you do. Pretend that you don't see the person. And it's not to say that you don't know how to ignore people, because when it comes to, for example, other female comedians who have gotten you upset for different reasons, you have no problem ignoring them. Like Tiffany Haddish. Apparently, she was pulling a prank on him once, and after that point until they got a relationship when she came on the show and talked about it. I mean, not exactly at that point, but she mentioned that she would say hi to him all the time, and sometimes he would say hi back, and sometimes he wouldn't. So just don't say hi to the guy. Your girlfriend doesn't like it. You've gone through all of this therapy. You know she doesn't like it. And here you are. You don't have to fight the person. So I just thought that it was hilarious that simple things that ordinary people can figure out without expensive therapy or even cheap therapy or whatever else, that really wealthy people who take therapy can't seem to fix. So anyway, that's it for me. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all the other good stuff the same way you would like if someone would do it for your stuff. Have a good one. Peace.